Okay, hello there, and welcome to the Fox Den. I am Andrea Truejoy Fox, your host for Talks with a Fox. I am happy you have joined me on this colorful adventure of self-discovery and lifelong learning. Throughout my journey, I have met some amazing human beings who are living inspirational and intentional lives as they fulfill their purpose and share their gifts with the world. I am excited to share these conversations with you, as well as some stories from my life as a Blackfoot woman and as a teacher and artist who is navigating through this exciting and beautiful world we live in, challenges and all. So grab a coffee or tea and get ready to feel inspired as you reflect on your own exciting journey and your connection to the world. We are in this together, and there is so much for us to learn and share. Let's do this. I just want to thank you for following this wonderful journey and for connecting with Talks with a Fox on all of our social media and liking and commenting on our page. We appreciate all the inquiries that we have received regarding how you can further support Talks with a Fox podcast. So we have gone ahead and set up a Patreon account where you can subscribe and support the podcast. Feel free to go to patreon.com/Talks with a Fox podcast. There's also a link to the Patreon page on our Buzzsprout page where you can donate the amount of your choosing. It means so much to me that you are on this journey with us. Okay, idamik welcome to Talks with a Fox. We have a super amazing conversation that we are going to share with you today as we sit down with a very amazing, talented makeup artist and hairstylist who is well on her way in her entrepreneurial journey. I am so excited to sit down with Angelica Chrysler, who is Lenape and Mohawk First Nations. She is also Native Mexican on her father's side, and she is a super resilient single mama, entrepreneur, and someone who is passionate about bringing beauty into everyone's lives that she's near. Angelica was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, but that is not her last stop. And as we talk with her today, we are going to hear about where life has taken her most recently. Welcome, Angelica.
Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to speak to you again. It's been such a long time, and congratulations on the podcast. I've enjoyed each one of your episodes so far, so I'm really honored that you asked me to come on for this as well. So thank you.
Yes, well, I'm so happy to reconnect with you as well. It has been some time, and I can at least say that you were somebody who worked on you shared your beautiful gifts with me back when we did a fashion show at the Gathering of Nations. So I know as you're continuing to move on up in the world of beauty and talent and working with celebrities, I can be like, hey, she did my makeup.
Exactly. Good times. Oh my goodness. That was
Yeah.
so much fun. I think we had maybe 30 models, and you were one of them. And I
Yes.
fell in love with your hair, and I was like, okay, I love her. Yeah, that was so much fun. My gosh, how long ago was that? Was that like 2000?
Just maybe about 10 years ago,
Oh,
I
wow.
think.
Oh my
Something like
goodness.
that.
They were nice
And
and
yet it
young.
feels like it feels like it was just yesterday.
It really does. It really does. That's awesome. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Moving up in the world, I suppose. But I
Absolutely.
it's really exciting, but it's great to reconnect again.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your time. I know you always have something busy on the go there in your personal life and
Oh
your
my gosh,
with
yes.
your professional world. So I really appreciate your taking the time to share this conversation, and I know our listeners are really going to enjoy hearing about your story. And speaking
Absolutely.
of,
Hmm.
where tell me about your beginnings. So you grew up in Detroit, is that
Yes,
right?
exactly. So I grew up in Detroit. I was actually born and raised there. My grandmother is her reservation is in Canada. So a couple years back, they just something to do with Indian affairs. They allowed us to reconnect with our reservation, and ever since then, I was able to go into Canada and be a part of my my family and the reservation again. So now I am First Nations, which, unfortunately, you have to wait until the laws and try to work for us instead of against us. But I'm very grateful because I was still able to travel back and forth because Detroit's not very far from the reservation. So was able to spend a lot of time back and forth between the city and with my family there. But yeah, I started in Detroit. I was born and raised there. I went to high school and all the way up until college. And then I finally moved here in 2007. So it's been a nice long journey.
And so you're currently in Florida, is that right?
Correct, correct. I came here in
Okay.
2007 and, just looking for more opportunity. The recession started around then. So, I was just trying to move with the times and see
Mhm.
what I could do with my art. My daughter was 2.5 at the time. So, it was a little scary, but it definitely helped transition me. And I learned a lot along the way because now, once again, the world is going through another transition. And this time I'm ready. This time I know exactly what I'm
Absolutely.
doing and where to go. So I've learned a lot along the way. And I am able to just take all those lessons and create a better life for myself and those around me as well, including my daughter.
Wow.
So yeah, she's 15 now. Oh my goodness. So it's been a while. It's been a long journey, but good lessons, good hard lessons.
I just want to say I think it's great that you're including your daughter into your business because I see that you two have developed a business page together. Is that right?
Yes, yes. So right now, what we're doing is we're creating a space for. I'm a hairstylist. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and that's how I started in the beauty business. So I wasn't always doing makeup. I started off doing hair, and my twin sister was the makeup artist, but she moved to Miami before I moved to Orlando, and basically I was left to my own devices. I had to learn how to do makeup on my own. So here I am on the phone with her while she's giving me makeup lessons and describing brushes and colors and skin tones and eye colors because back then we didn't have YouTube. So it was all about trial and error. So, at the time I just kind of winged it. But thankfully, I had good coaching, and I developed that skill. But my first love was always hair, and with my daughter, she's her father is half black, so she has like this really curly coily hair, and it's really soft and pretty, but I have wavy hair, so I had no idea how to work with it, even being a professional hairstylist. So, and I
Mhm.
think that that's what happens with a lot of moms who have children with curly hair and they don't. So what I decided to do was just kind of take other parents or moms, dads, whomever want to follow along and teach them how to, create curly styles and definitely take
Mm.
care of it. So I thought, you know what, she really loves having curly hair, and trust me, it took a long time for her to get there, but she has been on a really long journey to finding like good products and to find healthy self-image with that look because she looks at
Mhm.
everyone else and everyone in her family has straight hair. So it was just
Mm.
this really long journey of appreciating what the creator gave you and how do you make the best of it. So what we decided to do was do videos of her and I just chit chatting back and forth, and me
Mm-hmm.
accidentally pulling her hair, but definitely like showing how fun it is, to actually work with this type of hairstyle. And so it was just something fun for us to do, silly banter back and forth, and then also instruct, So it's been a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun sharing that part of our journey. She's also an actor. So she's filming her second season where she is hosting a children's show here in Florida.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's syndicated on all the major networks here in Florida, because basically they're talking about being outside, enjoying nature, things that you can do at each Florida state park. And
Mm-hmm.
she's just guiding, parents and kids to come outside and, enjoy being outside instead of being in front of your phones and on the tablets, or, in front of the
Yes.
TV. So she really connected with that part of the show as well, since, like, that's who we are. We love our roots. We love Mother Nature,
Yes. Yes.
Um, so it's really fun because this gives her another opportunity to just be open and share her personality, and she likes to help people. So I thought, oh, let's just do this together. And she also has her own thing going on, but this is definitely something fun for us to do, since I enjoy teaching and she enjoys entertaining, basically.
Well, she has beautiful hair. Your daughter has gorgeous
Oh,
hair. I've seen her in the
thank you.
photos, and you have beautiful hair too.
Thank
I
you.
I really love watching your videos and your
Yay.
tutorials, and because of the way you just listening to you and the way you describe your relationship with your daughter, I can
Oh,
see how connected you two are, and that's why it comes across as very natural,
yes,
and you're just keeping it real too, which is also really, I think that's amazing, and that's how your viewers will connect with you, how they do connect with you in a
yes,
in a
thank
in a
you.
very personal way. So yeah, really, that's amazing, and I think it's unique too, because you don't always necessarily see that type of relationship, and let alone add in business relationship with a mother
Correct.
and daughter, especially when the daughter's in her teenage years.
Oh yeah. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. As soon as she turned, as soon as she turned teenager, I was like, I want to give this one back.
Yeah.
And so I went through the same little heartaches and headaches as any
Yeah.
other, mom to a teenager. But, it was really great guiding her back to me, and and basically, just finding that connection with her again. So this was definitely, something that I'm actually like so thankful that it happened this way.
Mm,
So it's finding things that interests your child as well, and so that you
yes.
can be a part of their lives in a way that they can connect with you. So that's pretty much what I found with our relationship, and I think that as a parent, you want to find that connection with your child, and it's important to, immerse yourself into what they enjoy as well. So, yeah, I think that's kind of our
Absolutely.
journey. Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful,
Thank you.
and I think you two model it really well, and it is also telling and showing the world how, as Indigenous women and as Indigenous mothers, that bond and that relationship with our children, how important it is. And despite, what colonization has done to us, and, the genocide and all of that, we are still maintaining those relationships. And you and your daughter are really exemplifying that. And it makes me proud, and it makes me
Oh,
so inspired. And I know
thank
you're doing
you.
that for other women, and not just Indigenous women, women out there as well. And I'm sure you've met some amazing women along your journey, and working with families at weddings, and your other different bookings, the types of people you work with. So I know that the work you're doing is, while it's part of a physical part of self-care, there's also some emotional and wellness care in there, I can see, Angelica.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're connecting with someone like that, you're not just, some robot coming in and doing hair and makeup. You're someone that makes them feel something about themselves that they maybe didn't feel before. And to me, that is beautiful. That's a beautiful moment to share with someone, to see someone's, confidence grow right before your eyes, and or to see them cry or get emotional over, the start of a new journey, like for instance a wedding. Like, how lucky am I to be there for someone's happiest day of their life? Like, it's beautiful to me, and I make sure that anyone that I am around, that they know how thankful I am to be there, and that my whole goal is to like pour my heart into my work and make them, have the most beautiful experience, because it's just that important to me. Because I just imagine my daughter. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my daughter. I get to have this experience every single weekend, during like the busy season, and it's just a beautiful moment. So, I definitely do try to connect with my clients, and what ends up happening is when you do that, you're there for the whole journey. I am there for weddings, baby showers,
Yes.
like graduation, prom, homecoming. And it's just this beautiful journey that you're allowed to be on with this person that you normally wouldn't have met in any other type of business. So I'm definitely thankful that I decided to do something like this, because right after high school, I thought, you know what, I want to go to college. I just don't know what I want to do though. So I think I'll just go to beauty school, you know? And
Yes.
that's kind of how it started. I didn't even know what I was good at yet. And my
Mm-hmm.
mother, she was actually a beauty school dropout. So I think it's hilarious that there's a song that, and I was like, yep, that's my mom. and but like she was just very colorful and very dramatic about, the way that she saw herself, and just seeing that confidence in her. It really made me feel good to help her make her feel good. So she would ask me to, help her do her hair, or pick
Mm.
out a hair color and things like that. So it was definitely a way that I connected with her. um it's kind of crazy that that's the one thing that connected me to her, because we were actually, because she had addictions in her life as well. And we were taken away from her when we were about 5 years old. So it was
Mm-hmm.
definitely a difficult journey as a young girl to want to have that connection with her mother. And, so many things happen. And I think this just for a lot of people in our community as well, you suffer, some of your loved ones suffer from, addictions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you try to figure out, how do you connect with them? How do you still show them that you're there for them? And for whatever reason, this was our connection, like she wanted me to help
Mm.
out with her hair color. Every week it was like a different color, but it was like something that I can look back on and enjoy, have
Yes.
good memories with her. And I think that for that emotional connection that her and I had, I was able to take that and manifest it into something for my life as well. So just something really beautiful that I carry, and I'm really thankful for that. I found that with her.
Well, that's really beautiful, and now you are sharing those moments with your daughter,
Yes.
and like you said, it's amazing. I'm just thinking, envisioning, and I remember the energy that you had when we first met, and I still hear and feel that energy in you, and I can only imagine how. And you were, I want to say, you were doing amazing considering the pressure that you were under, because
Woo!
I know the
Yeah.
show, they only gave X amount of time to get everyone
Correct.
ready. And suddenly, and it just seemed like more models kept being added on, to the roster.
Exactly.
So, and
I
you're
was
like,
like, this
okay,
is
one
like
more.
one of those never-ending those
Yeah.
cars the clowns come out of, and they're just like, "What? How did you fit all those people in there? Like, what is happening?" But yeah, no, it was definitely an adventure. I was exhausted by the end of that, but it was a good
Yeah.
exhaustion, because I met so many amazing people that day. And it's kind of
Mm.
like one of those things. I'm one of those people that just work really well under pressure. And especially when
Yes.
it's something that's like you're sharing your art and your passion and your love for something, and you just get this really great rush of adrenaline, and that powers you to just keep going and like put some quality work out no matter how much time you have. So it was really cool. It was definitely it was definitely a test. But I
Oh
passed.
yes, absolutely, with flying colors. And I think about like all the women and all the people that you have worked with, and on their special day, their big
Yeah,
special days, and how that energy really is important, because obviously they're under a lot of pressure, and getting
absolutely.
ready, and what those kind of days are like. And to have someone like you come in, and I was looking at your website and looking at how
Hmm.
you describe the whole process of getting the bride ready and just bringing a calmness. You're someone that I think of. It's like those people when, like, basically when the world is ending, you're like, everything's going to be okay,
Exactly.
we'll
I try to
figure
be
it
that
out.
breath of fresh air. I'm like the problems. I told my daughter yesterday, we were in the car, and she says, I asked her a question, and she's like, I just don't know. I go, how about this? Instead of telling me, instead of complaining, how about tell me your problem and let's solve it? You know what I mean? Like that. I think that's
Wow.
just within me. I
Yes.
want to be able to create instead of sit and dwell, and I think that
Yes.
that carries out into just, I always say this too, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, and
Yes.
when I have that sort of passion inside of me that burns that way, I want to create. I want to manifest something beautiful out of the hardships, or the hurt, or things that happen to you in your life. And I think it just boils on over to the rest of everything that I do in my life. And so I'm definitely thankful
Yes.
for all the wisdom that I have picked up along the way, because
Absolutely.
I think one of the things that really sticks out for me is, yeah, both of my parents actually passed away in 2004. So right before I had my daughter, and they both had addictions. And, my mother um, passed about 8 months after my father. And it was a very rough year. And even that year, my grandmother passed away just a couple months in between. So it was my father, my grandmother who raised us, and then my mother. So what ended up happening, and the way that I look at that type of hardship and that type of heartache, is it did take a while, but I definitely got to the point where I just said, you know what, they had so many gifts to give in life, and when
Mm.
my daughter was born, I feel like all of that, the beautiful things of these people went into this person and just showed me that, yeah, sometimes we are not dealt a hand that is the best. Maybe, we're dealing with
Mhm.
things that, seem impossible or destructive. And I feel like really deep inside that you just have to have this growing passion to just move forward and take lessons with you, instead of feeling blame or feeling resentful or feeling, these things that can hold you down. And I think that was a part of my journey. Like, I'm so thankful for what happened, because it made me, I wouldn't say stronger, I would just say resilient. Like, just ready to
Mhm.
move move forward, no matter what was trying to pull me back. And I definitely felt a lot of strength from the family that did remain in my life. And definitely my sisters helped me through a lot of that as well. We were there for each other. And
Mhm.
it was just, recently, for us, I felt like as a family we needed to heal. And so my oldest sister we actually grew up in Chippewa, which is right, not maybe like 35 minutes from my grandmother's reservation where she's from. And so we actually
Mm.
were raised on the Chippewa reservation, and they were just a part of our family because my grandmother remarried, so her husband was Ojibwe. And
Mm.
just being on that reservation, and connecting with our family that we've known our whole lives, even though they were through marriage, we were so spiritually connected to these people. And it was just a beautiful experience for us because we didn't realize how that journey was going to help us and being around these people, because we ended up just recently, probably about 7 years ago, being introduced to Sundance. And I don't know
Mm.
what ceremonies, like I'm not quite sure what ceremonies everyone else does, but when I was introduced to Sundance, it really resonated with me and my sisters, and we decided to, commit to our 4 year commitment and do it. And basically, we just meet. You want to know something crazy? My daughter was 11 years old at the time, and my niece was 12. They did Sundance with us. And let me tell you what an amazingly healing moment that was for our entire family, because there were 3 generations of women doing Sundance together. So it was my daughter, me and my sisters, and my mother's youngest sister. So it was my
Wow.
aunt. And it was just so beautiful. And I think it shows that when women come together, that yes, you can definitely heal. And we are all about healing the generations and the generational trauma that our family has been, you know, been dealing with. And we just want to really just come out of this and break those cycles, and move forward and do our best as, Indigenous women. And it's just like I said, it pours everything that I do and everything that I believe in. It comes from a place of healing, and definitely a place of of sharing and creating love and beauty. And beauty comes in many ways. Even though I'm making someone look beautiful on the outside, I'm doing their hair, their makeup in a way that maybe they couldn't do. When they come out of it, they're not thinking, "Oh wow, I love the way my eyes sparkle." They're feeling something, and that's definitely a good part of healing as well. So I mean, it's just a beautiful thing that I definitely take into account when I meet people as well. As you try to see people for the humans that they are. We all go through our
Mm-hmm.
things, and we all have our pasts, and we all suffer from one thing or another. But at the end of the day, it's just being a part of something beautiful and sharing moments with people that last, a long time. Like they can look back and go, man, I really liked how I felt when I was around her. Like that's important to me. And I knew that
Yes.
for me, I knew that I had to heal, and I knew that it was going to take me reconnecting with my family and reconnecting with my roots and doing ceremony with my family, and just being a part of something special like that with my daughter at such a young age, like was just powerful and so beautiful. I'm so proud of her. Like she's such a rock star, man. And I forget, I'm like, you know what, that's my kid. Like I did that, and I have to pat myself on the back,
Yes.
because I think as women, we're always just like, we forget to take credit. We forget to go,
Yes.
you know what? I'm freaking awesome, or that was
Yes.
great, or like, we forget to give ourselves credit. And sometimes I have to realize, like, yeah, she's an amazing person, but I definitely hopefully helped with all that, But I'm definitely proud of us both, and definitely she's like one of those. Gosh, she's such a rock star. I love that kid. Of course, if she were sitting here, she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, mom, don't talk about me like that,"
Yeah.
because she's a teenager, of course. But,
Uh-huh.
I think when she becomes an adult, I don't think any of that embarrassment will be there. And hopefully she'll listen back on this and go, "Oh, my mom was so sweet." you know,
Yeah. Oh, she
Maybe, I
will.
hope.
She will, because you have planted those seeds. And I just
Yes.
want to go back to a few things
Yes.
that you shared.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
first of all, I honor everything that you've shared, and thank you for sharing these
Oh,
parts
thank
of
you.
yourself. And I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your parents. And wow, you are truly a strong, resilient Indigenous woman. And
Thank
and
you.
it's telling in how like you mentioned, you shared that, you had to go through that healing. And I believe that, we need to go through our own healing in order to help others. If we're in a position, or if there's opportunity
Yes.
for us to support and help others and nurture their healing processes, well, we need to take care of ourselves and do that. And I think that's so beautiful and
Thank
amazing. And,
you.
and I'm so, yeah, I'm so grateful you shared that story, that, it wasn't just yourself. You included your daughter, your auntie, and your sister. And like you said, yes, as women, when we sit together, we heal together, and we remind ourselves of our strength and our roots. And your daughter, you have given your daughter some very, very beautiful gifts. So when she looks back, like you said, she's going to remember all of these moments. And it sounds like she already has a solid foundation. She knows who she is in this world, and that's what we need to give to our children, our girls, our boys, all of our
Absolutely.
children. Hmm.
Absolutely. I
And
know.
your
Go ahead.
work is just, it's telling of that. And it speaks to your ethics as well. That, I believe, that's carries on into your ethics, the way you talk of your work, and how you take it very seriously. And it's not just, okay, I'm coming in to work with these clients. It's,
Exactly. Make that
I'm
money.
coming
Peace
in.
out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But
It,
you're going in and you're changing lives.
yeah. I hope so. Yeah, that's definitely a goal. Um, yeah, and it's something that, like whenever I meet a new artist in the business, I always try to explain that, money isn't everything. Definitely money
Mhm.
can be made. And I think that um as a new artist, you have a scarcity mindset. Like, I don't want to lose a job to this person or that person. And then you start to compare yourself as an artist to other people. Like, well, maybe I didn't get hired because I'm not good enough. Or maybe my prices are too high. Maybe my prices are too low. Maybe they think I'm too cheap. Like, you begin to like
Mhm.
really look at yourself as an artist. And what happens is you have an artist, and then you have a um, a business person, and it's really hard to kind of make those two sides of yourself mesh. But what I try to teach when like makeup artists are starting out is that there's work for everyone. There's so much work out
Mm.
there. You're not taking money from me. I'm not taking money from you. So my this is something that is very
Mhm.
important to me. I always stand by community over competition. The only way that you
Mm.
can make it in this business, and this is just, I cannot believe that more people don't follow this rule, is the more that you help other people, the more that they will help you. And I wouldn't have propelled or moved as quickly as I have had I not been there for other artists who would help me up. And this is basically, I think,
Mm.
what a lot of people need to embrace is it is a community. We are all there for the exact same reasons. And what ends up happening is once you come in with that mindset, you start to attract other people like that in your life.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about contracts. I don't have to worry about anything where I can't just trust the person that I'm working with. And it's because you build that type of energy around you, and you build that type of community around you where you guys are all there for each other. If one person makes it, you all make it. And I think that
Yes.
and definitely it's just a sisterly thing. Maybe it's because I have so many sisters or so many women around me, but
Mm.
I always knew, like, you're there for if you're there for each other, you'll all grow. And there's no comparison. Sometimes you vibe with one client, sometimes someone else does better.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it really, I think that it's really difficult for new artists to come in because you're so critical. I mean, I think women are just critical about themselves anyways, and I could definitely I'm definitely revisiting that having a teenager, because I'm like, man, I really was hard on myself as a teenager. I mean, I didn't have my mom there, so my mom wasn't walking me through these moments of like
Mm.
of being like so self-loathing or thinking that I'm ugly, and or my
Mm-hmm.
body isn't right, or my hair is frizzy, or like I just didn't have anyone there for me to kind of walk me through those moments. And I think that's just
Mm.
something that just kind of sat with me. And I thought, you know what, when I have a daughter, I'm going to make sure she knows how beautiful she is,
Yes.
and I think that just shows, maybe it's just the nurturer in me. I don't know. I think that it was just such a good place to be as a guess as an art to share, because at the same time I have this art in me, but I also have like this fuel in me where I just want to like create something bigger and better.
Yes.
So the entrepreneur in me is the one who's like, okay, let's engineer something new, or let's create something, or let's, you know, I don't know, create something different and share that. Because once I finally started doing hair, I was like, yeah, I think I want to go to college to be an entrepreneur. I want to do
Yep.
business. And so I went into business, to school for business, and it was so much fun. And I try to tell my daughter, I'm like, just go to college and find something that you really want to do, because then college is fun. Then school becomes fun. Now you're going to actually
Yes.
enjoy yourself because it's something you're passionate about. Because right now she's like, oh my gosh, high school's awful. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But college is great. So I definitely, and I try to tell her too. I'm like, hey, if you find something that you enjoy doing and you can just create it straight from high school, go for it. But if you
Yes.
want to go to school, like, I'm all about school too. And
Well,
yeah,
I just love your community over competition.
absolutely.
You talked about that, and as you're talking about being an entrepreneur and being a businesswoman, you're what I'm hearing from you is you're humanizing the work you do, and with that approach to the work you do, that allows others to humanize you. Like you said, it's
Definitely.
not just, oh, here's a contract and I'm going to go in, or they're not just seeing you as, okay, here's the person we hired. It actually is about relationship and connection. And I think sometimes people get the wrong idea, or the first thing sometimes they associate with entrepreneurs is money, 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 business, business, and in impersonal connections. But the way you talk about how you run your business, you're really humanizing it. And I think that's really important for people to understand about what it takes to be an entrepreneur, because you're taking constant risks, but you're also not placing it just on the value of how much your business is worth. And I appreciate how you talked about the scarcity mindset.
Hmm.
I'm an artist myself, and I can relate to that. There's a lot of fear sometimes when you're starting out, or you're super cautious, or like you said, I don't want to lose this contract, or I'm what if they don't pay me what I'm asking, or ask what I know I'm worth. I think that's also an important conversation, because a lot of artists get undercut, or they undercut themselves. and
Yes.
and what people don't realize with artists and entrepreneurs is they just really see the final product. They don't really get to see what it took to get to that final
Oh,
place of
absolutely.
creativity, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, there's definitely a lot of like back end, organizing, and there's formulas that I had to figure out and create to
Mhm.
know that I fit where I belong. I wasn't overpricing or underpricing myself. Like, there's definitely formulas for you to
Mhm.
look, and for you to. I always tell people, I'm like, just reach out to people who are in the business that you want to be in, and people you want to get advice from, first of all. Like, you don't want to be
Yes.
asking, you know uh auntie who's a nurse how to get into the makeup business. It's like, okay, how do I do this? So and that's another thing that I had to learn too, is asking for help. I mean,
Mm.
in my life, I was one of those people that just figured everything out on my own. I hated asking for help. I hated to feel like I was a burden in any kind of way. And I think, when you grow up the way that I did, where you had to fend for yourself or you had to grow up
Mm.
fast, that you forget that there are people out there that just want to help, you know?
Yeah.
And it took a lot for me to find a I guess a place inside of me that was humble enough to go, hey, you don't have it all figured out, and there's no way you could do this on your own. So, you're going to have to ask for help from someone, and at least, have an open mind or an open ear, because it like I said, there's that mindset that, and it really is, to become an entrepreneur, there's just a mindset that you have to create within yourself that is going to be open, but also be, like, almost judgmental on what works for you and what doesn't, so there's just so
Mm-hmm.
many aspects to grow as an entrepreneur. And it really, and for me, to be honest, I love reading. I have loved reading since I can't even remember. But it was one of those things, and people they go, "What is your hobby?" And I'm like, "Reading." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I will take a book over flowers on a first date any day." You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I
I
love that.
I'm just one of those people. I love to grow and learn. And anytime I find like someone else who's a reader, I'm like, "What are you reading?" And then come to find out we're all reading the same things, and I'm like, "Yay, I knew I vibed with you." But it was like one of those things. And I know a lot of people aren't readers, but I always say there's audibles. You can listen to books that will help
Yes, there's
guide
something for
you.
everyone.
Absolutely. So for me, it was a lot of reading. It was a lot of self reflection of how I wanted to be a leader and what that looked like for me. And I knew that in order for me to be successful in this business, I had to learn how to become a leader. And
Mm.
being a leader is not being, the sergeant, like, da 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 da, this is what you have to do. It's
Yeah.
being the role model, and
Mm.
it's showing the way, it's paving the way for others. That's what leading is. And so I had to learn that the hard way, because I was not confident at all. I would go home crying, like, what am I doing wrong? I'm so scared, and it was a really hard struggle for me, because, I mean, this is really personal and really deep, but I would literally sit and cry and call myself a loser. Like,
Mm.
it was tough for me as a teenager, trying to figure out who I was. And I was, 19 years old, and, like, am I good enough to do this? Am I good enough to move forward? Like, who am I? And when you're trying to figure that out on your own, I think that's probably what fueled me so much right now, to want to teach, to want to be that sort of person who shares, so that you don't have to go through that as well. Because I think it was such a sad place for me to be alone. And I thought, you know what, if I just had someone who
Mhm.
said these words to me, or showed me what to do, then I probably would have been a little bit further faster, you know? Because I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, "This took forever." Like, geez.
Well, it's almost like you had to go through that for,
Absolutely.
those to come after you. You are a trailblazer, Angelica,
Thank
because
you.
you are breaking new ground in so many ways. And what I really respect about you is as you're doing that, you're creating space for others, and you're sharing and teaching along the way. And those really align with our values as Indigenous people, right? It's not really self-fulfilling. It's more about, sometimes self-sacrifice, but also sharing what you learn and what you gather, and bringing it back to the community, or mentoring the next group of young people to come after us. And um, I can see that in the work you're doing. It's very much about collaboration and, like you said earlier, community. I want to hear more about webinars that you're planning to teach. And I know you
Oh,
mentioned some
yes.
proceeds attached to that. And
Yes. Oh my
so tell
gosh,
me
so
about that.
exciting. So, um, goodness. And this was another thing that I had to get over is, um, getting in front of the camera and being able to talk, because for whatever reason, I'm just one of those people that just get choked up when I'm getting recorded. I don't know what it is. So it was just another fear that I had to get through. But once I did, and which is why it took me so long to start, is once I did, I decided that it was time for me to take everything that I learned. I've been in the beauty business for 21 years, and it has just been moving from an age where there was no internet, no social media, barely cell phones, you know what I mean? Barely texting, where weren't paying $20, a day. But, from
Mm-hmm.
moving into this new era, um, and basically taking things that I learned as just a brand new artist with nothing, with absolutely no resources whatsoever, and how I created where I am now, and now having multiple resources, multiple ways to put yourself out there as an artist, to go ahead and push you forward. So I kind of took all these 21 years of experiences and decided to start teaching a course. So I'm going to put a course out for makeup artists who are starting out in the business, and they can purchase the course and just be done with that, or they can go ahead and sign up for my monthly webinars. Basically, a space where they can go back and watch whatever they need that applies to their business at that point, wherever they're at, and just really start putting content that people can use and connect with, and help them along their journey as a makeup artist, hairstylist. All of it's the same to me.
Mm-hmm.
And just teach important things about, like we were talking about, how do you price yourself, how do you, what, and
Mm.
what market do you want to get into, and there's so many decisions to make when you're first starting off, because you don't know what you're good at, and it's kind of like you're just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. So I try to minimize that whole process for them, and so that's going to be my goal, is definitely to start teaching artists, um, and eventually, um, be able to go ahead and travel to different reservations, because I don't know if you knew this, but back then, with around the time of gathering, me and a little team were going around to different reservations, and getting girls to sign up for minimum. We were paying for gas. We weren't making money, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We were
Mm-hmm.
jumping from reservation to reservation, and we were trying to get girls headshots. I would do their makeup, their hair. We had a modeling coach, and we had a photographer. I think Thosh Collins. So him and I
Yep.
were trailblazing the reservations, and another friend of ours, Amber Ray Wood, and she was doing like the modeling lesson. So it was this really cool thing, and I think that's what kind of like inspired me to not only offer some sort of course, but definitely go directly to reservations, because that's where my heart was.
Mm.
There's girls who maybe don't have access to the internet, or don't have the type of funds that it takes to do that. So it would be really really an awesome opportunity for me to go and teach one on one, or teach as a
Mm-hmm.
group. And definitely, because I am connected to my people, what I like to do is I want to take a portion of the proceeds and donate it to the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Definitely to get more awareness out for that, and hopefully help with some of these families that are going through hard times. It's really scary, because I have all my sister and my nieces, and my cousins that they live in scary areas, and it's just something that's
Mm-hmm.
really, it's a possibility. And when I tell people who know nothing about it, the numbers are so staggering. They just have no idea that that's what's happening to our people. And I'm like, no, more people need to know about this. And if there's a way for me to
Yes.
bring awareness, or even for this, just any old person coming in and buying the course, they're going to be connected to that cause, because they're going to know that a portion of their money is going towards something that is going to help these Indigenous women and girls who are you know suffering and hopefully help in some sort of
Wow.
way.
That is
Yeah,
such a beautiful way to give back to you, to use your gifts to give back to others. I mean, it's
absolutely.
very, that's amazing. And I know you're going to be successful at that. And,
Oh, thank you.
um, the everything you touch is magic. I just
Oh,
want
you're
to
so
say.
sweet. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I know. I'm just sitting
Well,
here like blushing. Like you still have to have like I forget, people are like, "Oh, you do celebrities?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, do I? Wait, who did I do?" I'm like, "Wait a minute," because I see people for people. I don't
yes.
treat anyone any better just because you're a celebrity, just because you make money, just because you're known or anything like that. I treat everyone the
Yeah.
same, you know? And
Well, it's representate. It's, I can see how that's represented through your website. Like I'm just cruising through your website again here, AngelicaChrysler.com.
yeah.
And the whole vibe that you set, like in the meet me section, I just love that photo of you and your daughter, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you.
Yeah, it just captures both of your beautiful spirits, and you're two very beautiful ladies. And
Thank you.
I love how you introduce yourself. Hello, loves. Like I hear your voice as
Yes.
I'm reading through
Yes.
that. And,
I promise. I think it's like
yeah,
so important. Like I want you to hear my voice when you're reading.
yes. And your story, like you make it very personable. You share your story, your beginnings, and
Yes.
why you're on this journey. And it's a very clean, user-friendly website, and yet it
Thank
has
you.
some really nice, sweet aesthetic touches to it as well. So,
Thank you.
which I see in your work. Like, when I look at your bridal work, you're not really changing who they are. You're enhancing who they are,
Yes.
You're bringing out that beauty and that inner beauty in them, which allows them to glow. And then, of course, I look at your editorial work and I'm just like, I'm so amazed. And like I
Oh.
said, I'm so honored and happy that, I got to work with you at one point in time.
Woohoo.
And I see, yeah, and I see your the work you've done. You've worked with Cosmopolitan,
Yes.
all of these editorials. Wow, just so incredible. And there's such a great range. I'm just going to shine the light on you right now
Thank you.
because people need to know about the work you do. And you've already have such a huge network you're connected with. But I mean, I would fly you in to come work with me. Okay, so my wheels are turning
Yes.
here. Okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I see everything that you've done and it's so amazing. And the layout of your webpage is, like I said, very easy to use and it's very telling of the work you do and such a diverse range of people you've worked with. I can tell from athletes to,
Yes.
people who are in business to families and
Yes.
everything else. So, you are very talented, I want to say, and gifts you share. And like I said, the cherry on top of the cake here is your beautiful spirit that you
Thank
share, and
you.
you're spreading that magic everywhere you go. And I want to give you a shout out too for being featured in Vogue, in the Vogue magazines, Vogue Beauty and Vogue Wedding
Thank you.
Instagram pages. Like, wow,
Yes.
congrats.
Oh my gosh. It was really a huge surprise. I did not know that that wedding was going to be featured. I knew they were actors, but like I said, it's just not something that I focus on. And I'm telling you, it was one of those
Yeah.
weeks where I just said, you know what, I need a social media break. So I got off of social media, and all of a sudden I get back on and I'm getting all these DMs from all my friends going, "Oh my God, girl, your picture is on Vogue Beauty of you doing makeup." And I'm like, "What? With who?" Like, I had no idea. I was like, "Wait a minute." So I go on there and I just start crying. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Like, this is amazing." And the bride, it was so funny because she knew it was getting featured, but she didn't tell me. So it was a huge
Oh,
surprise because she couldn't tell anyone. So it was definitely, one of those amazing moments where I go, man, this is
wow.
happening. Like, this is great. You know, and I try to tell people, like, oh, well, how did you do it? How did you get on there? How do you get published? And I go, listen, it's all about integrity. you treat your clients well, you do a great job, and somehow, some way, at the end of the day, you're going to be rewarded, and it may, you know, it may fulfill some goal or dream. You never know, but that's the thing. You have to treat every single job and every single client the same as you would as if it was the biggest opportunity of your life. And I truly am so thankful that it happened. And like I said, that's actually my second publication. My first one, the same thing, had no idea it was going to happen, and
Wow.
it was just one of those things. Like you just make sure that you do a great job every single time. You just show up every single time, 110%, and you give your all. And like I said, stuff like that is just going to happen if you carry yourself in your business with integrity. And
That's
that's
amazing.
really just one of those things. So can't
Well, you
really.
deserve everything that has come your way. And I know there's so much
Thank
more,
you.
that you are going to be able to celebrate. And again, you're not
Yeah,
necessarily doing it for that, but you deserve all of that success. You really do.
thank
And
you so
and I'm
much.
so happy that we've remained in touch through all these years. And
Absolutely, I know.
I just personally love following your journey and all the
Oh,
amazing photos and messages that you share. And
yes, thank you.
I know we're going to work together again in the future,
Yes, I
so.
cannot wait. It's so funny because anytime I think of you, I always say your full name. I'm like, it's Andrea Joy. Oh my gosh, I totally messed it up. Andrea Joy Fox. And I'm like, I say your whole
True
name,
joy.
and then I think of I don't know why I say that, but it's like the whole. And then I see your beautiful red hair, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see
Aw.
her again. And I really do hope that we see each other very, very soon. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
You've moved to Nashville. So Nashville
Oh
has
yes,
been, on my one of the places I've always wanted to go visit, and now I have an even more important reason to go there. So
yes,
I'd love to come down there and visit you and work with you, and
definitely.
and you're right now literally in the middle of your move. Is that right,
I
to Nashville?
yes. So I am. This is great because I don't do anything half ass. I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
just go full force. So I'm keeping my market open up here in Orlando. I'm gonna have my team working on the weddings that are being booked, because obviously right now with COVID things have slowed down a
Yeah.
lot. But that's just not going to stop me. So I'm just going to move to Nashville, which is another market that I work in very often. I fly there at least, I don't know, 8 to 10 times a year to work. So I've decided to go ahead and open up shop there, but also open up, keep my New York market open, because all of these weddings
Nice.
are seasonal. So it depends on what
Yes.
climate you're in. So I figured, let me take care of the South, the center, and the North, and
Yes.
just, I just spread that, those teachings. And I just want to build teams up in, each city, and just keep going, and hopefully share this journey with so many more artists. And yeah, gosh, I cannot wait. Nashville is going to be great. Me and my daughter love it. She's so excited to move and start her journey there too, and see what type of
Mm.
acting opportunities she can get. And to be honest, I'm 10 hours closer to home
Oh,
because
wow.
yes, I told my family. I mean, the borders haven't opened yet, so I haven't been able to spend any time with my sister and my
Mm-hmm.
nieces and my cousins, but as soon as that border opens and it's safe for everyone, I cannot wait to just take that drive up, and I will be back and forth as much as possible. But yeah,
Wow.
it's definitely a good journey to be on, and I'm going to be a little bit closer to home, so that's really, I'm excited.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's more for you to add to that book of poetry. And I believe you're working
Yeah.
on short stories about your life and family and
Yes.
motherhood.
Absolutely. So I've always liked poetry. Growing up, I just never really got into it, and what I started to
Mm-hmm.
realize is that it was just something very healing for me. and even though it was a personal journey, and definitely the things that I talk about are going to be very personal, is, I wanted to make it into something beautiful instead of just being like a sad story. I wanted to turn it I wanted to turn my life and my journey into something beautiful. So I decided to do more of kind of like a poetry slash short story type of share, where it's just very easy to
Mm,
read, and it just kind of tells, where I was in that moment, and how, I either overcame or I didn't overcome, and then maybe it took me 10 years to learn that lesson, or you know what I mean. And I just wanted to
mm-hmm.
be, definitely something readable for any age. So there's going to be stories in there for, teens, for when I was a teen, and definitely motherhood, new mothers, and
Mm-hmm.
sisterhood, and relationships, and just anything that I can share about my journey, but just make it into something, readable for everyone, and poetic, I guess, is the way that
Yes,
I
like
see it.
you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So definitely just another way to share, my art, because I do love writing. I do love, sharing my journey, and hopefully in some sort of way my stories will, help somebody through whatever they're going through. So it's always, I think I've always just
Absolutely.
wanted to deep down be some sort of, healing energy for somebody, if not only just for myself, but for anyone, for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and
And you are. Your spirit is very full and beautiful and
thank
powerful,
you.
and you carry all the strength of the women that you've talked about that have been in your life, and even
Yeah,
those before, the generations before. You
absolutely.
carry that with you wherever you go, and I know that there's so much more ahead for you, and I can't wait to see what else you do.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
I
so
just love that you
much.
have so much, well, you have so much faith in yourself and in your goals, and that's how our women are. And we need
Yeah,
to hear more of these stories too. And you know quite often media portrays us in not always a positive light,
you're
or
right.
there's we hear the stories of the traumas and things that have happened, and those are equally important. But I also believe we need to continue to hear more stories of strength and power and resilience from our women, and that's why I was especially excited about having you on
Oh,
the show, because I knew you were going to bring that, and
oh, thank
anyone who's
you.
listening to this, they're going to walk away feeling enlightened
Oh.
and more aware and educated and inspired, of
Oh, you're
course.
so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. That makes me like, ugh, I'm literally blushing right now. I hope that's what's happening, and I just want to say, like, that I'm just truly grateful that you brought me on here, and that I am able to share that journey with someone, and that at the end of the day that it does inspire someone, or helps motivate them,
Hmm.
or just brings them out of a dark place, if in some sort of way. I just want to send everybody big virtual hugs, because we can't touch each
Yeah.
other. Tell everyone, like, thank you so much for sharing in this part of my journey with me, and I really appreciate the fact that
Mm,
you reached out and brought me on here. Like, it means so much to me, and thank you so much for
mm.
praising me, and making me feel good about all these things, because sometimes I just don't think about them all. I just go go go, and it just took me.
Yeah.
You made me sit and reflect, and it inspires.
Mm.
I find my, that the motivation, that self motivation as well. Now I just want to hurry up, pack, and then start writing again, or you know what I mean, like do something positive,
Yep.
and thank you so much for bringing that to my attention, and
Mm.
bringing that energy like forward, because it's so important to have, friends, and other people, your peers, just bring those types of things out in each other. And what you're doing with this
Yes.
podcast is so great, because you're right,
Oh,
these
thank
voices
you.
need to be heard that would, on a normal day just wouldn't. And I hope that this
Yes.
grows into the beautiful thing that I see it as. And I definitely encourage you just to keep going, because it was so awesome talking to you and reconnecting, and I just thank you so much.
Thank you too. I mean,
Yeah.
hand to heart, and
Yes.
I'm just grateful to have this moment with you and share the space with you. And, you and your daughter, I want you two ladies to have an amazing journey, safe to where you're going. And
Thank you.
I know that, you will have some new chapters begin there for you.
Yeah.
As we conclude this amazing, incredible conversation, we have the final four.
What is
So
that?
this is where I get to so this is where I get to ask you 4 questions that I didn't tell you I would ask you.
Ooh, I'm in
And
the
you
hot
just
seat.
yeah. And well, I know you'll slam dunk them, so
Oh,
just,
yay, okay.
bring it.
Love it. I love the confidence you have in me. Yay.
Okay, so you just basically I'll ask you the question and you
Sure.
just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. What is one word that describes you best?
Giving.
Beautiful. Okay. What is one thing you want to leave in this world?
Healing.
Beautiful. What is one of your favorite books?
Oh my gosh, I have to choose one. Oh,
Yeah, I knew that would be a tough one.
okay. Gosh, there's so many. Can I pick one from each genre?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm a bookworm too. So that is a whole episode in itself.
Let's do it. I want to do a book club. How about this? I will tell you the one book that changed my entrepreneurial journey. It
Sure,
catapulted
please
me
do.
forward. It is by John C. Maxwell, and it's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I read that book
Ah,
twice. I read it once and then twice just to make sure that I understood what it meant to me. I know it's not
yeah.
a deep book. I mean, there's some spiritual stuff in there, and of course, he's a Christian, so a lot of his journey is
Mm-hmm.
on follows what he went through. But I think we can
Mm-hmm.
apply that to literally anyone, and just
Mm.
whatever spiritual connection you have to what it takes to be a leader. But that book really catapulted me forward into this journey. I was really young when I read it. I think I was
Mm.
about, when I say really young, I mean 25 is not really young, but it's younger.
That's
Um,
still.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, 25, I read that book and it really changed the way that I looked at what being a leader and definitely like what I wanted to do for my life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I always recommend that book. It's one of my favorite books to recommend to anyone looking into entrepreneurship or just in general, just how to be more confident in yourself and things like that. So, yeah.
Wow. I will definitely add that to my book list. It's never ending too. I will.
Truly. Oh my goodness. I just bought a bigger bookcase. This sucker's huge. It goes to almost to the ceiling. And I'm like, let's fill it up.
Oh wow.
So when we get off
Yeah.
this call, you better send me some book recs.
Okay. Oh, well, I will be doing a book talk coming up
Ooh,
here in the fall, and
okay.
I have some authors that will be coming on as well. So it's, of
Fantastic.
course, top secret for now, but yeah, some
Aha.
exciting
Cannot
things
wait.
ahead. And okay, final
Final
question.
question.
Please finish this sentence.
Okay.
Beauty is,
Love.
wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it is.
I mean, you can't you don't understand the beauty of anything until you have love. And when you have self-love, then you can see the beauty in yourself and the beauty in anything else in your life. You can see the beauty in
Mm,
relationships. You can see the beauty with connection. You can see the beauty in physical
mm-hmm.
forms. You can see it, the connection that you have with creator. You have, I mean, there's so many things, but it all starts with love.
Well, your work is love. Your work is love,
Yay!
self-love, and it's love for the people you work with. And you exude beauty in so many ways, inside out,
Oh,
Angelica, you
thank
and your
you.
daughter, and in your motherhood, and in your passion for helping others feel amazing and glow from the inside out,
Thank
and
you.
just everything that you're doing. So, hand to heart for coming on to the show. And
Oh, thank
I
you.
can't wait to read your book of short stories and to see
Yes.
your next editorial and to visit you and
Oh
just
my gosh.
everything else you're going to continue to do in this world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. And I'm going to set up my room for you. So anytime you want to come, you can have the guest room.
Yay! Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was so awesome talking to you. Oh my gosh, this has been great.
You
Thank
too.
you.
All right, virtual hug
Big
and
virtual.
many blessings. Gidakira matsin, and we will, I said in Blackfoot, until we meet again.
Oh, thank you. Now when? That's in Mohawk. Thank you.
Ooh, I love it. Now when?
All right. Thanks. Woo!
I am always so very amazed and impressed and, of course, inspired whenever I talk to such creative people like Angelica. This conversation really gave me an extra motivation to continue to look into my own projects that I have been pondering about for some time. And, more importantly, what is it can we do to make the world not only a better place, but just a more colorful, beautiful place, when we share our gifts, as you heard Angelica share her journey. And I'm so excited as an Indigenous Blackfoot woman, Anita Dabyaki. It always makes me feel very good and happy when I see other Indigenous women out there doing their thing and thriving and sharing their gifts with the world. We have so much to offer. And women in business, there's as many challenges there are that women in business encounter. There is also some really powerful, wonderful, and wise things that they are bringing to the business world and as entrepreneurs. I can't wait to see what else Angelica comes up with. And if you want to continue to follow her on her journey, connect with her, follow her. She's on Instagram at Angelica Chrysler Beauty, as well as YouTube. She has some amazing tutorials on there that her and her daughter put together and share. And, you get to see more of their magical personalities sprinkled into their videos. One last thing that I want to share, a final thought, as I conclude this beautiful conversation with this beautiful woman. She had said, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Like myself, I'm sure you're soaking that one up too. I hope you all continue to follow your dreams, make them a reality. Get started today. The best way to get started is to get started. Good luck to Angelica on her journey. She is well on her way. When one woman succeeds, we all succeed. So don't forget to lift up those strong, beautiful, powerful women in your family, in your communities, and everywhere that you see them, because they are truly the heartbeat of our communities. Gita kiramatsin. Have a beautiful and blessed day.